All right, well, first we'll just open up with, we kind of do this with Coach, the good, the bad, and the ugly from last weekend. Just your thoughts on the game.
I think the good, definitely rushing defense. I think we held them to under like 50 yards, which is solid, and it's kind of on par with what we've been doing in the past few weeks. So that was a big plus. The good, the ugly. I mean, I guess defensively, there are a couple of things that are kind of funny. There came out good, you know, is a bad snap on Towson's end. We got a strip sack and everything on like the 2-yard line. And there's nobody around us but one guy, and somebody falls on the ball instead of scooping and scoring it. So that was ugly. Sorry, Priester. But yeah, those two about that week for sure.
Yeah. You guys have had, I think this will be the third ranked team coming here this weekend, and you guys have played with those teams at the very end. What makes this weekend difference where you guys can close it out and win that game?
I think just that discipline. I think throughout the season we've been working on getting more disciplined, and every week it's like there's some things that may fall short, some things that may not, and but progressively, step by step, I think we're getting a lot better on average. So just come out consistently executing everything that we're like coached in practice, because they give a great plan, and it's definitely built for us to succeed if we keep doing it and execute it all well perfectly, and that discipline is there. It's gonna get us to win in the end.
You mentioned you guys were able to stop Towson on the ground. I think these last 4 games, opponents have been less than 100 rushing yards against you guys. Just what has been the key for you guys on defense and stopping the run so far in this stretch?
I think play calling's great. On the other end, it's just that consistency and discipline. Nobody's like popping gaps. We had a few issues with that earlier in the season. We're all like staying with the plan, getting our gaps, and some guys are just making plays, which is good too, beating the guy and getting there quick.
I know, against William & Mary, you guys gave up 400 plus rushing yards, and then Rhode Island, it was almost 300, and then you go through this 4-game stretch where it's less than 100. Did a switch flip, or was it just like a mental thing where you guys coming back trying to challenge yourself? Because it seems like some kind of switch was flipped there.
Yeah, I think that switch was kind of like what I just mentioned before, that whole spur where we were popping gaps. I think part of it was just not trusting it. We were like, oh, I'm going to make this play because I see it might be right there. And then you get out your gap, and then there it goes right in your gap, So stuff like that. And just trusting the process, trusting what we're supposed to execute. And we do it consistently. And the run game's just stopped every game for us since then. So that's a big plus, and it's something I think we're going to keep doing going forward.
As a defensive lineman, I guess just tell me how important it is for the success of y'all's defense to stop the run. And how, is that like a confidence builder for the rest of the game where you guys come in and know that they're going to have to kind of be forced to pass if you guys can stop the run?
Yeah, no, I think it's a big confidence builder, and it's like exciting for us because, you have to earn the right to rush the passer, and that's, kind of what a lot of us really live for. So just earning that right by stopping the run and keeping them under 50 yards or 100 yards every game it's a big plus for us. So.
Got another big game with Richmond coming up. What do you know about Richmond? What have you seen from them on tape? What do you expect?
Richmond, nothing really too surprising. There's 2 guys. The quarterback, I think he's solid. Guys are saying like he was better than last year. We have one guy that was at Richmond last year too, and he spoke about him pretty highly. So he's a good quarterback. Offensive tackles, offensive line is just they're more senior guys, but nothing too scary, nothing crazy or anything, but something exciting to look forward to play against. And they have one big back that wasn't listed on like a scouting report, but he's like 38. He's a big guy, just runs hard, so we're gonna have to make sure we just gobble him up, tackle him. But besides that, just excited to play him.
I was looking at the stats. I think they're like 0.8 rushing yards per game higher than Hampton is on like the conference stat sheet. So both teams are running the ball very well. How do you guys continue to stop the run and make sure this 4-game streak that you guys are on, keeping teams under 100, continues to do this game?
Being locked in and being focused and just consistently plugging everything that we need to plug in those like gap schemes, whatever it is. Typically these teams are zoned, so just making sure that we're in our gaps because they're going to wait and they're going to see which one opens. So you stay in it and somebody's going to fill it. One of our backers or one of us are going to make a play. So just consistently doing that, And that's what we've been doing the past 4 games, and it's going to work out for us going forward.
Got a big Saturday of Hampton sports. You guys start off at noon, and then men's basketball and women's basketball play immediately after. You guys got a triple header going on. What kind of atmosphere are you expecting for this game?
I didn't know that, but I'm expecting like people would probably be more out to the events. You know, they'd be like, all right, they have the basketball, another basketball game, and the football game, so people would be more prone to be like, hey, there's games going on, why not be out? So I think there might be more of a crowd, more people actually coming out this Saturday.
Gotcha. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
All right, Coach. Good, bad, and the ugly from Towson.
Yeah, the ugly is, the turnovers, keep showing its head. Something that, we stress every week. And again, not eventually, but it catches up to you when you keep playing good teams, solid teams. You can't allow them to have short fields and be able to score points. So quickly, in your part of the field. The bad, we weren't able to kind of get it going like we wanted to. In that third quarter, I think we had the ball for 7.5 minutes. And, when we were doing that, you could see now the bad, we didn't, we got 3 out of it, not 7. Again, the good, and it's a self-victory, but our guys did keep fighting. They didn't quit. They didn't wave the white towel. They kept fighting. So it shows the maturity that we're having with our guys, that they're going to fight to the end. But we can't put ourselves in that situation. You look at what the defense did. They held them, I think, in the second half. I think they gave up like 56 total yards or something like that. So, our defense has been playing lights out. Offensively, we were scoring, and the last 2 weeks we haven't. We've got to get back on track and doing that.
Obviously, you guys have played close with top 25 teams here twice this season, took them down to the wire both times. What needs to be done this weekend against another top 25 team that hasn't been done the last 2 times, so you guys can win?
Yeah, the 2 close ones, I think we had 2 penalties and 4 penalties. We might have had, 1 turnover. I think the biggest difference is, there were 4 plays, on the offensive side, not so much we didn't convert on the 3rd down because, the receiver went inside instead of going outside. The O-lineman was supposed to block down and he blocked out. And so it wasn't so much turnovers or penalties, it was just that one missed opportunity. And again, when you're playing teams like in this caliber, you can't have those one missed opportunities because, they'll take advantage of it. And so that's the thing all week is just, that those little things. I know it sounds, kind of redundant, but when you talk about it's a game of inches, that's what this game, when you're playing good football teams who have the tradition of being where they're at and they've been there, you can't have those. And we're trying to get where they're at, and it's a small hump that you got to get over. They've been it, they've done it. We haven't done that, and so when you get over that hump and you realize, oh, this is what it takes, then I think you'll see us take that big leap that we want to take.
4 straight games where you've refused to give up over 100 rushing yards from your opponents. Just what has been the key to 1, doing that, and then 2, maintaining that
right.
on defense?
I think they do a great job of rotating personnel. Our coaches come up with great game plans. Every week there's something that we see that, we'll exploit, that is going to be different than the week before, different than the week before, the week before. And so they put good packages together. Everybody has some type of tendencies. I think our coaches have done a great job of finding what certain teams' tendencies are, or a certain player may line up a certain way, or he does a certain, and they've picked up on that, and then so it's giving our defense a chance that, hey, when this guy lines up like this, or when he has his hand down like this is what's going. And I think when you can find those small details, you have a little bit of edge. And so, and I keep saying too, we still have guys that were new, and trying to gel together in game 1 and game. Now you're in, going in game 11. Well, now those guys have practiced with each other all this time. So now you're starting to see that gel come together. And I think too, as coaches, who can do what, like Lane. What can Lane do different than Nance? What does Nance do different than Dorsey? What does Trey Everett do different than Cam? And use their talents and their strengths. And so, once you start seeing where we are now, that's what you're starting to see. Hey, this is what Cam is good at. Let's utilize him. He may be better blitzing inside where Trey is better blitzing outside. And in week 2, we had them flip-flop doing the other thing, and they weren't successful. And now you found, flip them now. And so I think you're getting all of that starting to come together, and that's why I think you're seeing our defense play the way they are right now.
Talk about finding those tendencies in opponents without giving away trade secrets or anything. Right. What is something after looking at the Richmond tape that you maybe see tendency-wise, go, hey, we might be able to play this a certain way and stop the run?
Yeah, I mean, again, we're still it's kind of a process. You're still looking at stuff. I mean, they've got they got a great quarterback. They got a wide receiver, 11, that they want to get the ball to. They have another receiver. They have another big back, small back kind of tandem. So you're still in the process. Yesterday was, first day of practice. You'll look at some more stuff again, and a lot of this stuff is you keep looking at film to find. Again, you're playing another top opponent. That's been in this position before. They've been at the top of this conference before, and so you really got to be ready to play and have your, like I said, it's a basic game. Your eyes got to be in the right place. You have to be in the right gaps, and people have to make plays when opportunity presents itself. And we talk about it. It's a game of about taking advantage of your opportunity. And so when your opportunity presents itself, if it's a corner blitz, you got to be ready. If it's a nickel blitz, if it's a safety blitz, whatever it is, when your number is called, you've got to execute. So we'll have our hands full. It's a good football team. I think our guys get up for these games. With it being senior day, I think these guys will definitely be even more juiced up and ready to play because for 18 guys, this is their last home game. So we'll be geared up and ready to go.
Just looking at the run defense and those 2 games back-to-back against William & Mary and Rhode Island really stick out in terms of you guys weren't struggling to stop the run, and those 2 games it spikes the team, and then these pass forwards back down to below 100. Yeah. What was the difference between those 2 games, William & Mary and Rhode Island, and these last 4 games? Was a switch flip? Did you guys approach something differently, or was it just execution?
Yeah, I think, guys are starting to really buy in, and not that they weren't in before, but again, I still go back, William & Mary, first road game of the year, close opponent. You've played a lot of guys, I don't know, sometimes, you get too high and then all of a sudden, you get too comfortable as far as like, we'll be okay then, and then it's like, but I just think our coaches have done a great job these last 4 weeks. I think our players are buying in even more, and it's a process, and we know it's a process. And then in the William Mary game, sometimes it just happens. Everybody has sometimes one of those games where the wheels just completely fall off and it's like nothing you can do, to get it fixed. And, that's to me kind of what happened in that William & Mary game. Sometimes you lose a fight and you just have to lick your wounds and come back and play another day, because I don't think that's not who we are. Like even the games before that and the games after that, that wasn't who we are. It was just something that happened. The Rhode Island game, it was a shootout. It just turned into a shootout. They did a great job of changing quarterbacks, and so now they had a guy that was more a drop by a guy that wasn't as mobile, and then they brought in a guy who's more athletic, and so now those blitzes that we had to kind of contain their first quarterback, those weren't the right ones to use versus this quarterback, because now this guy can pull it and run where the other guy wasn't looking to do that. And so, you go in the game plan and say, hey, we're going to run this blitz, and it was working. And then they made a chess move and said, hey, we're going to put our other quarterback in, and we were using the same blitzes and some of the same coverages that we were using versus the first quarterback, and you just couldn't do that. And again, that's a lesson learned, for our defensive coaches, that, hey, we always, especially when a team has two quarterbacks, you got to have something in your back pocket to say, just in case, if they bring this guy in, let's use these two blitzes instead of these two blitzes, or these two coverages instead of those two. And so again, even for our coaches, it was a lesson learned, for that game is, we're in a shootout, new quarterback, let's try something different. And we've played some other teams since then that's had two quarterbacks and tried to do the same thing, and we were more successful. So, the defensive side, I give them a lot of credit for what they've been doing over this time. Coach McCombs has done a great job, the whole coaches. And again, those guys just, coming together. When you look at the pieces and who played a year ago on our defense and who's playing now, you're talking about, 7, 8 new faces that are trying to learn each other, and they're coming along at the right time, and hopefully this Saturday is the ultimate right time.
Okay. Got a triple header of Hampton sports on Saturday. You guys kicking everything off.
Yeah.
Are you expecting a nice crowd, since everybody should be filing right into the convocation center?
Yeah, that's what we're hoping. Our game's at noon. I think the girls are at 5:30, and then the guys play at 7:30. So, hopefully people are saying, hey, let's go out and enjoy a Saturday here on our campus. And, you've got a team right down the street that should bring a nice crowd. And, again, a lot of these guys played against each other. And then, you got the men and women playing a rival game of Norfolk State, and so you got that big rival in the basketball arena. So, and I think the women beat Missouri, and so it should be a good atmosphere. My plan is let's have a victory, and then let me come over here and watch the men and women get their victory.
There you go. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.